So the AC is on. Hopefully that's not a huge issue. Hello, how am I doing? Hopefully you're well. Hopefully the audio is okay. I don't know exactly how this is gonna go. Hopefully this goes well. Hopefully, I don't know. But hello. If you choose to hang out, hopefully you get something out of this. If you want to engage with those streams, that would be awesome. That would help me out a lot. The AC is on, so hopefully that's not an issue. It hasn't been too much of an issue in the past, but I always kind of anticipated being issues, so hopefully it's okay. So we're going to talk about a few things. I have like notes. If you see me look down, I have notes. Okay. I'm just gonna mess around. I didn't plan on having that, but I was like, last minute I was like, let me practice some time again. Let me do something. That's what that was, basically. In the fashion of Leo energy, I guess, right? So, hi, how's it going? Hopefully well. I already said that. I generally go by Mr. Rashad, also Jerry Rashad. Doesn't really matter what you call me, but hi, thanks for hanging out. If you'd like a private reading, if you'd like to book a reading with me, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, if you'd like to check out the Patreon and see other things that I've created, you can check out the link down below in the description, and that would be cool. Okay? Thank you. Alright, so what is wisdom? What does it mean to be wise? What makes somebody wise? That's a good question. Also, I'm supposed to be playing some aesthetic music in the background. I did not stop that because I was playing the guitar, I guess. And also the art of discernment. That's also another thing. Wisdom and discernment. So I was gonna have notes. So intelligence and wisdom, two different things, generally. Intelligence is the ability to learn. From what I did my research on, I did research on this. Intelligence is being able to learn, having the capacity to learn. And wisdom is being able to apply what you've learned and do something with it, create something with it, whatever. So slightly different things. They do play hand in hand, but yeah. Hello, welcome. And I don't know, I feel like it's really easy to be intelligent and then also not be wise. I feel like a lot of people might have book smarts, they might know a lot of information, but it really means nothing if you're not able to like apply it in some way, like do something with it that is like helpful to yourself or others, you know? And that's where wisdom comes in. That's where being a wise person comes into play. Because yeah, you could know every single information in the world, you can know every single thing there's to know, but if you don't know how to utilize it, if you don't know how to use it, then what does it really matter? You know what I mean? Experience versus insight. Experience versus insight. Experience is exposure. Experience is literally just having gone through situations, gone through things, and then insight is when you take what you've gone through and you, similar to wisdom, you apply it. You learn how to adapt to what you've gone through. And once again, not to sound condescending, but I feel like a lot of people, hello, welcome to this journey. Hi. I feel like a lot of people, unfortunately, have a lot of experience, but then they don't learn anything from those experiences. No tea, no shade, but you know, we have to be learning. We have to learn from our experiences. Otherwise, I'm thinking of Katy Perry in this moment. There's a lyric where she says, if I'm not evolving, I'm just another robot taking up oxygen. What song is that from? I can't think of what song it is. If anybody knows what song it is, let me know. But I'll probably figure it out later, it doesn't matter. And then finally, knowledge versus discernment. Knowledge is info. So similar to intelligence, intelligence is like the raw data. Knowledge is the raw data. Once again, I'm looking at notes, I have notes, if you see me looking down. And the discernment is like using that data and like knowing what to do with it, figuring out what to do with it to like move forward effectively, you know? And once again, I feel like a lot of people know things. You know, it's really easy to know information, but like if you can't apply it to your life, not to sound condescending, but like I think a lot of religious people do this, honestly. Like a lot of people read the Bible, they know the scriptures, they know the information, but it's like, are you living it though? Are you embodying it? What good? And then there's a quote, everybody knows this quote. Everybody knows this, but 1 Corinthians, I think 4. Yeah, if I know all the languages, if I know how to speak with angels, if I know how to figure out all the mysteries, if I know how to intuit and all that stuff, but I have no love, then what does it matter? You know, and it's similar concept, but you know, if I don't know how to apply it to my life, if I don't know how to use the information, then what does it matter? It doesn't, you know, so we have to make sure that we are learning from our experiences, applying it, you know, not just going through the motions and going through experience, you know what I mean? Once again, I have notes. So if you see me looking down, that's why. Hello. If you're getting anything out of this, if you appreciate this, make sure to give a thumbs up. Once again, if you want to check out the link down below, that's an option. And then also, I wrote down a question, a reflective question if you're open to it. You don't have to answer in the comments. If you want to, you can, but who is the wisest person you know and why? Why is it me? I'm sorry. I wrote that down actually as a joke, but like, yeah, something to reflect on. Like like knowing what wisdom is and like what that looks like. Who is the wisest person that you know? Is it me? But it's probably not. I don't know. There's probably other wise people that you know. Also, at the end of this, when I'm done like doing the talking talk, I'll be open to like card pulls or answering questions if anybody wants to ask questions, if anybody wants to get a card pull. Check out the link down below, or not the link. Check out the description down below for information on that. All you really have to do is subscribe and give a thumbs up, and yeah, that's all you really have to do. So, it's Leo season. Did you know that? I'm sure you did know that. Happy birthday to Leos. Even though Leo and I have I don't know, we don't have that crazy relationship, but me and Leo, I'm a Gemini sun. I don't identify with my sun, but Gemini and Leo are a good match. But it's Leo season, in either way, regardless of whether or not that was unnecessary. That's Gemini brain in me. Thankfully, I have a lot of Virgo to balance me out, to stay grounded, but anyways, Leo season. So, confidence versus ego. Oh my gosh. What does that mean? What is confidence? What is ego? If anybody has any thoughts, you're welcome to share, but I'm gonna get into that either way. So, confidence versus ego. I'm gonna start with the negative, because everybody likes to demonize the word ego. Ego is not a bad word, by the way. We all have an ego. You wouldn't be able to exist on this planet without an ego. We all need an ego. It protects us, protects our soul, if you believe in the soul. You know, and ego is overly confident, which I guess I can't use the other word in the definition. Ego thinks it knows everything. It thinks it has all the answers. It doesn't. As long as you're in a human body, you don't have all the answers. I can guarantee you that. I can't guarantee you, because maybe that's my ego. But like, I'm 99% sure. If you're in a human body, you do not have all the answers. But ego likes to think that it does. They like to be like, yes, I'm special, and I'm important. You are important, but like, not to everybody. And that's okay. You're important for you, and the people closest to you, that's fine. You know, what did I write down? I wrote, the whole page is like, I have like a bunch of scribbles and stuff. Ego is about attachment to identity. Ego likes to say, this is who I am, and this is what I know. Confidence, meanwhile, is just kind of like, here I am, you know, perceive me how you like. I know who I am. I don't need to prove myself. You know, that's confidence. It's usually quiet. And when I say quiet, I don't mean volume, but like, you know, it doesn't need to like explain itself. It doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. And if you don't like it, then it's not for you, you know? Confidence has a sort of security with it. It is secure. Like, because the word insecurity is the opposite of security. Like, confident is assured of itself. It doesn't need anybody to validate it. It doesn't need anybody to be like, oh yeah, congratulations, you're doing awesome. And ideally, confidence also doesn't shiver when somebody gives negative feedback. Of course, very few people can appreciate negative feedback, but like, when I say negative feedback, I'm not, because constructive criticism is a thing. I don't know what my hands are doing, but constructive criticism is also a thing that I think is very important if you're a creative, if you're somebody who creates content, if you're somebody who, you know, puts themselves out into the world. You should be able to take feedback and not take it personal and not think that it's an insult. And I think a lot of people unfortunately have a problem with that, but that's neither here nor there. Confidence is about self-acceptance. It's accepting who you are and appreciating who you are in the moment. Sure, you might change your mind later. Sure, you might be a different person 5 minutes from now, but in this moment, you are who you are, and that's fine. It's okay, you know. Confidence says, I have gifts. Ego says, my gifts make me important. Do they? Ego also says, my gifts are, I say gifts, I guess abilities, talents. Ego, once again, like I said, ego likes to think that it's always right. It likes to think that everything that it thinks is correct and like, you know, it can do no wrong, but that's not true. Once again, if you're in a human body, you have the capacity to make mistakes. You have the capacity to be wrong. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you get to actually being confident, you know? Some other things that I wrote down, humility. That's a big one. That doesn't mean making yourself small. That doesn't mean shrinking yourself for the sake of others. That means understanding that just like everybody else on this planet, you also bleed. You have feelings, you have a shadow, you have things that you don't necessarily want to show others, and that's okay. You know, that's a part of confidence, like being able to not need to put yourself above others. And I don't know who's going to tune into this, I don't know who's going to watch this, but like, I think that is a huge issue with our world. A lot of people really have this hierarchical thinking. A lot of people want to believe that they are better than the next person, or they need to be better than the next person. That's not humility. That's not being humble. Humility says, I'm a person, you're a person. I'm deserving of respect, you're deserving of respect. Until give me a reason otherwise, you know? Oh, and then I said respect. I wrote down self-respect as the next thing. That's funny. Confidence is self-respecting. And nobody else can tell you what self-respect is to you. It's self-respect. So if you like sleeping around, if that's something that you don't mind doing, nobody else can tell you that that's not respecting yourself. You're the only one who can determine what is respectful and not respectful for yourself, you know? There's a lot of noise outside. Authenticity is also something I wrote down. And I was thinking about this. This is real-time thoughts, I think, because I didn't write this down, but I was thinking about this when I was taking the notes. Because everybody sees the world differently. Everybody has a different understanding of like what it means to exist in the world, I think. And authenticity is like definitely a controversial word, I think, for a lot of people. Like, people hear that word and they're like, what do you mean? What is that? What are you talking about? Authenticity, authentic. And because I was thinking about like people who have like, you know, Leo placements in their chart. And Leo is naturally a performative energy. It likes to be expressive and exciting and passionate. And I was thinking about that. I don't have a lot of strong Leo placements in my chart, but I do resonate with Leo. I'm a creative, I'm an artist. Check out the link down below in the description. But Leo is very expressive. It's very performative by nature. And I was thinking about like, because one of the things that I was gonna write down, I didn't write it out, but in my research for this, authenticity versus performance, you know? And I don't think performance is inherently like a negative thing, because like, I feel like some people would hear performance and they hear fake. I don't think that's necessarily true, because once again, some people are naturally more expressive and more performative. And to some degree, that's a part of who they are. You know, like you wouldn't necessarily say that Britney Spears was being fake when she goes on stage, you know? I mean, maybe you would. I don't know what you would say about Britney Spears. Don't say anything about my girl, okay? She's been through a lot. But like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't necessarily say that that's being fake if somebody's like putting on a show. Because you know it's fake. It's supposed to be fake. It's not supposed to be real. But it is also an aspect of ourselves. The character that we bring out is an aspect of ourselves. Because I was thinking about it for me also when I come up here and when I do this sort of thing and when I live stream like on TikTok, like because especially recently within the last few months, I feel like I've definitely leaned into the energy of like performance and like, you know, being extra expressive and, you know, joking and comedic. And it is an aspect of me because sometimes that comes out when I'm by myself. Like I joke with myself. I say stupid things with myself. But I say all that to say, authenticity is definitely part of confidence. Like being able to be yourself and show up naturally, however that comes across for you. Once again, it can be performative. Sometimes performance is natural to us. It just depends on your own archetype, your own personality, what feels good to you, what feels natural to you, you know? And also I wrote leadership, which I'm gonna circle back to that, question mark? Yeah, I don't know. I wrote leadership down as a thing. I could have did better notes, to be honest. I could have, just being honest. But leadership is also a necessary component of confidence. Like when you have a lot of confidence, you tend to also be someone who's naturally good at leading others. And once again, I did write it down later in the notes, but I'm like, how do I, because I don't want to just skip around and just like, you know what I mean? I don't want it to feel like that, but thank you for hanging out. If anybody happens to be here, you're awesome. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. But leadership. I could have sworn I wrote down more things about leadership specifically for this, but leadership is stewardship. It's responsibility. It's, you know, being able to attune to what other people need and, you know, because ego likes control. Ego likes to be at the forefront and likes to be like, I know what to do. Ask me, come to me for the answers. And leadership is a more selfless thing, like genuine, like actual, like leadership is selfless. It does not think about oneself. I remember my last boss, God bless his motherfucking soul. The man was so annoying. But he definitely was very much so in his ego. I remember at some point we got into like a little bit of a verbal argument, and I think it stemmed from me just trying to understand my duties. You know what I mean? Because I've been a manager before, specifically at this specific like franchise like, company. I've been a manager before. I didn't have the title, I didn't get the pay, but I did do manager duties. Like even like in the live thing, I don't know, there's a ghost in the live. And so I was trying to understand, and like the attitude he gave me, it kind of like, just being honest, it triggered me. It made me like, you know, it triggered something in me, and like one thing led to another. And I remember at some point he said something along the lines of like, this is my store. You have to prove yourself to me. You have to like show yourself. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, what? What? Have you not been paying attention? Have you not seen me work? Have you not seen my work ethic? I did say that out loud, actually. I was like, have you not been paying attention? I mean, you've been sitting on your ass the whole time. I'm sorry, I don't like to swear. But like, I'm getting passionate. Because this man really irritated me. Like, some people should not be in positions of power. And this man, in my opinion, definitely was one of those people that should not be in power. Because once again, leadership, like good leadership, like healthy leadership, does not put themselves at the forefront. They put the people that they are serving at the forefront. They ask, what do they need? What can I do for them? How can I serve? You know? And if you're not doing that, maybe you shouldn't be a leader. Maybe you shouldn't be a manager or something, you know? But like he said, that's just your opinion. I'm sorry, I have to laugh. I don't have to, but it's funny. In hindsight. In the moment, it was very frustrating. And I've dealt with a lot of managers like that. I've dealt with a lot of people in positions of power who, in my opinion, should not have been in positions of power. And if you wanna scale out and look at the U.S. government, we could say that. But I think Trump is amazing. You know, I think he's doing what he needs to be doing. You know. Anyways, the next thing that I wrote down was the Leo new moon. There's a Leo new moon solar eclipse on the 12th. 1, 2, 12, 1, 2. There's a solar eclipse, new moon, in the sign of Leo. What does this mean? I don't know. It means a lot of different things. If anybody is interested, if anybody is tuned in and listening, you're welcome to ask for a card pull when I'm done with the Yappity App. I'll be open towards the end of this to pull cards if you have any questions. It doesn't have to specifically be about the new moon, but if you want to ask about the new moon, I would love to do that. If not, whatever. But yeah, generally new moons and eclipses are about big changes, big shifts in energy, and especially for my manifestors out there, especially for my conscious creators out there. You will likely be seeing the results of your harvest, or something, so the fruits of your labor around this time. You might have already, like, if you're super sensitive, if you're super tapped in, you might have already been experiencing some changes at this time. It's currently the 9th of August, so 3 days from now will be the solar eclipse new moon. And if you've been setting your intentions, if you've been, doing what you need to be doing, then you most likely will be seeing big results on the 12th and after the 12th. So be ready for that. Anyways, another thing that I wrote down, in fashion with Leo energy, being seen, versus being known or understood. It sounds like a really small thing. It sounds like it doesn't make a difference, but it does make a difference. It's one thing to be seen. I'm being seen right now. You see me. You hear my words. If anybody's actually here, but you don't know me. You likely don't fully understand the person that I am. And I also probably don't fully understand the person that you are. I could probably tap into your energy and see some things, but like at the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to be you. You don't know what it's like to be me. And I feel like a lot of people, especially people who like pursue fame, they do it for the sake of like being known or being understood or being loved. That's not a bad thing. But I think part of that is understanding that like there will be a lot of people who see you, who witness you, who hear you, but don't truly know you. Back to Britney Spears. Why am I thinking Britney Spears so much? Because I mentioned Britney Spears a few moments ago. Britney Spears, I think, is a perfect example of that. So many people know, like, her image and know her essence, but, like, I'm sure there's very few people who truly know the inner workings of her mind. Like, even getting to speculate and, like, see the outer workings, like, nobody truly knows what it's like to be her other than her, And that's definitely a big thing, like with visibility and putting yourself out there. Because I've been putting myself on the internet for like, what year is it? Probably like 10 years, maybe more than that. I don't know. I've had many different platforms. I've had many different characters, if you will, many different iterations, many different ways of being. So I don't know. But I've been doing this for like 10 plus years, and that's one thing I've come to understand. Like, a lot of people will see you physically, they will hear your words, but they won't be able to, because they can't, because they're not you, you're not me, I'm not, you know what I mean? And that's something to come to peace with, come to terms with, like, because I think a lot of people want to be understood so badly, but sometimes you just have to accept that people will misunderstand you, people will not get the point, they won't get the message. It sucks, but that doesn't mean that you stop the message, it doesn't mean you interrupt your flow, you just keep doing what you're doing. And eventually, hopefully, maybe, if you continue making the proper steps, the right people will find you, and the right people will align with you, and it'll make sense, I wrote what makes somebody magnetic. And what's funny? I created a whole gosh darn course on magnetism, divine magnetism. And I did not release it. It might be public, I don't know, but I didn't do all that I wanted to do with it. Like, I made so many videos on it, like, within it, and I did not promote that at all. But magnetism, what is that? What does it mean? What does it consist of? Similar to the traits I said before about healthy Leo energy, confidence, charisma, presence. I also wrote patience, authenticity, attunement, passion, purpose, humor, humility, helpfulness. I think these are things that make somebody attractive or magnetic, you know? Um, okay, hello? How's it going? Are we here? I had an alarm go off and I exited the app by accident and yeah. Anyways, presence. That's a big thing. I feel like a lot of people do have a hard time being present. Um, what does it mean to be present? To be completely here in the moment, not in the past, not in the future, not somewhere else, but here in the moment, wherever you are, you know? And I feel like definitely, this is real-time thoughts, I didn't write this down, but like, I feel like definitely social media has played a part in like people not being able to be present, because it's so easy to like find distraction and to be distracted and to be entertained, and it's like, why would I need to be present? And I can just find something to occupy my energy, occupy my time. And I know for me personally, like I have moments where I have to like force myself to like not indulge in like, and sure, it might be enlightening information, it might be like good information, but sometimes I have to force myself to not overindulge in like information and entertainment, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's definitely a big part of magnetism, like being present, being where you are, completely and fully, you know? I also put patience, and I guess I could go on to say like delayed gratification. Like whatever you're working at, if you're like an artist, if you're like a performer, whatever you are, whatever you do, whatever you strive for, being patient with the process, knowing that you're not going to always see the results that you like. You're not going to always get what you want on the first try. Maybe not the second try. I don't know. Maybe the 100th try. I don't know. But like, sometimes you just have to really be patient with the process. And also, I didn't write this down, but I would say like self-validation, like I think is really important. Like not needing somebody else to validate you or like, you know, make you feel like you're doing something right. Because I feel like a lot of people in our society, we like wait for somebody else to tell us, hey, you're doing a great job, you're doing good. Or we wait for some sort of external thing to be like, hey, you're doing good. And that's not bad, but it's also not great. Like you need to be able to sit with yourself and be like, hey, I want to do this thing. And whether or not anybody looks at it, whether or not anybody likes it, I am doing this because this is what I want to do. This is what I feel called to do. Like for example, I'm gonna use my phone in this moment. I'm on here, I've been on here for like 27 minutes. And I don't trust the numbers that I see, but it looks like nobody's here. It looks like no engagements or whatever. There was one person who liked, shout out to whoever did that, thank you, you're awesome. But like, that shouldn't deter me. That shouldn't like stop me from doing this because this is something that I want to do. This is something that I have on my heart to do. And I feel like a lot of people would benefit from like embracing that. Like you need to validate yourself. You need to learn that like external validation is temporary. It's fleeting, and it also is very dangerous because if somebody else can like hype you up, they can also bring you down. You know, and so you really gotta learn how to validate yourself if you're wanting to be magnetic, attractive, you know, attractive in the energetic sense, not like physical beauty, but if somebody wants to get a personal private session with me, I definitely wouldn't mind sharing some of my secrets, but like, because I got some tips and tricks, but this isn't about me, it's about you, I think, or just information, whatever, whatever. Passion and purpose, that's also something I wrote. And I did alliteration for this because it just felt right, I don't know. Having passion, being able to tap into that fire that is already within you. Because we all have a spark within us, we all have like a fire that we can tap into. And when you do, that's when more people want to tune in, that's when people want to like listen to what you have to say, you know? I also put helpfulness. So like service-oriented energy, like wanting to, you know, not making it about you. Like I said earlier with the leadership thing, like a good leader thinks about the people that they're serving. they ask the question, how can I be a better leader? How can I better serve the people who are under me? A bad leader does not ask themselves that. They just think, what can I do to get the job done? Let's get the job done. Let's do this. They probably don't even ask themselves that. But like, you know, a good leader asks, like, how can I be better? How can I help better serve? Oh my God, that's all I wrote. That's all I wrote. I just wrote bullet points. I didn't, you know what I mean? And so yeah, if any of that resonated with you, if any of that sparked anything with you, just know. It's not always easy, but it's pretty simple. So stay the course. If you'd like to get a card pull, if you'd like to answer any questions, all you really have to do is subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Check out the link not the link, I keep saying the link. Check out the description below because there is info on that. But once again, all you really have to do is subscribe, give a thumbs up, and put whatever question or inquiry you might have. And yeah, and if nobody is interested, then I'll just get off eventually. I'll have a watch. I'm technically, I wanted this to be a little bit longer, but sometimes things don't turn out how we want. So it is what it is. But I do think anybody who happened to be like tuned in, anybody who was like, here for this, past, present, future, well, it wouldn't be past, but present or future, anybody, once again, if you did get anything out of this, please make sure to thumbs up, give me a like, and consider checking out the Patreon in the description down below, because it'd be cool. I've been working very hard on it, and it'd be nice if I could get some more people on there. I might just pull some cards anyway and see what energy comes out. Should I do that? That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know if I should do that. I want to do that, but should I? Just because I can doesn't mean I should. I don't know. I'll be right back. Oh, actually, yeah, I'll be right back. Actually. I'm back. I just needed to get off camera for a bit. I started the stream with this. I'm gonna end. Last time I was playing this on stream, somebody told me it was really bad. I'm definitely not as good as I want to be on this. I'm sorry that sounds so not great. But yeah, I kind of figured that nobody would. I don't know. I kind of figured this is how it would go. So I did my part. I did what I wanted to do. So, anybody in the future, if you happen to see, thanks. You're awesome. Please make sure to engage with the video if you do appreciate this. What? Appreciate. I said appreciate. I don't know if you caught that, but I did. Appreciate if you do appreciate this. And if you would like a private reading, if you want to get, book a thing with me, you're welcome to. And I would love to do that. But only serious people, only serious. If you're just here to waste my time, I don't never did. But if you're seriously looking for guidance, if you're seriously looking for some one-on-one with me, check out the description down below. And thanks for being here. You're amazing. And I hope you know that miracles happen all the motherfucking time. Whatever you're going through is temporary, and I can promise you that. I can't promise you too much, but I can promise you that everything is temporary, because everything is temporary. So try to keep your head up, keep your spirits high, and take care of yourself. Make sure to stay hydrated, and love you, bye.